Hey everyone, and welcome back to the deep dive. You know, we'd love to really get into the nitty-gritty here, really explore a topic. And today we're going to be diving deep into something that I think is on everybody's mind, and that's building real wealth.
Real wealth.
That's it.
Yeah. Not the flashy get rich quick stuff,
Yeah.
but like the real deal.
Right.
The kind of wealth that lasts.
It's a long game.
The long game, exactly. And lucky for us, you guys sent in a ton of great articles and some really interesting research. We're going to use all of that to really kind of break this whole thing down.
Yeah, absolutely.
So by the end of this deep dive, I'm hoping you'll walk away with a really solid understanding of, not just what real wealth is, but also like how to actually start building it yourself.
Yeah.
Step by step.
Yeah, without it feeling overwhelming.
Exactly, without it feeling overwhelming.
Right.
Okay, so let's jump right in. One of the things that really struck me going through all this research was this idea that real wealth, it's not just about like a big pile of money.
No.
It's bigger than that. Absolutely. I mean, if you look at Source One, for example, they really emphasize that, wealth is more about freedom.
Freedom, yeah.
Financial freedom.
Right.
Right. It's about having the power to make choices in your life.
The choices you want to make.
Exactly. Choices that are aligned with your values, not limited, not limited by your bank account.
Right. Not being stuck in a situation you don't want to be in just because you can't afford to leave.
Exactly.
But okay. So we've got this freedom, but there is, of course, a financial component to it, too.
Right. I mean, there is a way to actually measure it.
Right. How do we measure it?
Well, a lot of the sources, including Source 2, define wealth financially as net worth.
Net worth, okay.
Which is basically what you own. Yeah. All your assets minus what you owe. Mm-hmm. Your liabilities.
So everything you own minus all your debts.
Exactly.
Okay. That makes sense. But then, you've also got Source 3 talking about this idea that wealth is kind of subjective.
Yeah, it's relative.
What feels wealthy to one person
might not to another.
Might be totally different for someone else.
Totally.
Okay. So it's not just like a fixed number then. It's more
about a feeling or a sense of security.
Yeah, a sense of security.
And also, there's a difference between, this is really key, I think, between getting rich.
Oh, yeah.
And building wealth.
A huge difference.
Right. So Source 4 kind of hammered this home. Getting rich, that's like the lottery. Yeah. It's sudden.
Overnight. Right.
Yeah. But building wealth, that's gradual. It takes time. It's sustained effort.
It's about building something that lasts.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. So I think we've established that this isn't about getting rich quick. It's about
the long term.
The long game.
Right.
Building real, lasting wealth.
Right.
So where do we even begin?
Well, I think step one, based on a lot of the research we looked at, like sources 2, 5, 6, 8, 9, even 10, they all kind of agree on this.
Okay.
You got to understand where you're starting from.
Okay.
It's all about figuring out your current financial landscape.
Okay. Financial landscape. So we're talking about like taking stock.
Literally.
Literally.
Of your finances.
Okay. So how do we do that?
Well, it goes back to that concept of net worth we talked about.
Right.
That's your starting point.
So we need to actually calculate that number.
You got it. And sources 2, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10 all had different ways to kind of lay this out.
Yeah, they had some good tools and tips. Right.
So basically, list everything you own. That's your assets, cash, investments, your house if you own one, your car, any other valuable stuff.
So that side is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, pretty much. Then you list everything you owe. Your liabilities.
Mortgages, loans, credit card debt, that kind of thing.
Yeah, all that. Subtract your liabilities from your assets and bam, there's your net worth.
Okay, that makes sense. But it's not just about this one number, right?
Mm-hmm. Because, you've also got your income.
Right.
And that's where it gets interesting because Source 2 made this really important distinction between income and net worth.
Okay.
So income is what you're earning. It's the money coming in.
Okay.
But net worth is what you're actually accumulating. It's what you're building over time.
So like if you're making a good income, but spending it all.
Your net worth might not be growing much.
Or even shrinking, maybe?
Possibly. Right. And then sources 10 and 11 were really great about laying out how managing your income well is what really drives net worth growth.
So it's not just about how much you make, it's about what you do with it.
Exactly. So the core mechanism here, if you want to build wealth, is you got to be growing your assets and minimizing your liabilities.
Okay. I think I'm starting to get the picture here. So we've got our baseline. We know where we stand. Now, how do we actually start building from here?
Well, all the sources we looked at seem to agree on a few key cornerstones.
Cornerstones. Okay.
So think of these as like the fundamental building blocks.
Okay. Lay them on me. What's the first one?
All right. So many sources talked about this one, like 11, 16, 17, 18. It's all about having a plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
A financial plan.
Exactly. And setting some really solid goals.
Goals.
Right. Think of it like a roadmap for your money.
Oh, I like that. A roadmap.
Yeah. And this isn't just some vague idea in your head.
Right.
Sources 18, 19, and 20 really stress the importance of SMART goals.
What's M-A-R-T goals?
Which means they're specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Oh, okay. So you really need to break it down, make it concrete.
You got it.
Not just like, oh, I want to be rich someday.
Nope. It's got to be like, I want to save $10,000 for a down payment on a house by next year.
Okay, so that's a real goal.
Right. And the other thing, sources 19, 21, 23, and even 25 pointed this out. You had to regularly review and adjust your plan.
Oh, so it's not just like set it and forget it.
Definitely not.
Because life happens, things change.
Exactly. You got to be flexible.
Okay. Cornerstone number 1, financial plan. Check. What's next?
Okay. So this was all about getting a handle on your day-to-day finances.
Okay. I'm sensing a budget coming on.
You got it.
Yeah.
Budgeting. And saving. Sources 27, 29, and 30 were all over this.
Yeah. Can't really build wealth if you're spending every penny you earn.
Exactly. So, first things first, you got to track your income and expenses.
I know. Nobody likes doing this.
Yeah, but it's crucial.
Okay, I'll make a spreadsheet.
Because once you see where your money's actually going...
You can start to find areas where you can cut back.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're tracking everything. Now what?
Now we budget.
Budgeting.
And there are tons of different methods out there.
Oh, yeah. Like the 50-30-20 rule that sources 16, 29, 31, and 32 mention.
Yeah, that's a popular one.
But
50% of your income on needs, 30% on wants, 20% on savings and debt repayment.
Or there's zero-based budgeting.
Right, where you allocate every single dollar.
Okay. Lots of options.
So you can find one that works for you. But the key here, and I can't stress this enough.
Hit me with it.
Automate your savings.
Automate it. Like, set it and forget it.
Exactly. Make it automatic. Pay yourself first. Like sources 16, 26, 37, 38, 39 we're all saying.
Yeah. So it's like you're paying yourself before you even have a chance to spend it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those savings, they're not just for a rainy day.
Right. It's not just an emergency fund.
It's also your investment capital. That's what you're going to use to build wealth long term. Like sources 35 and 40 said.
All right. I'm getting it. So we've got our plan. We're budgeting. We're saving. Now, what do we do with all this money we're putting aside?
We invest it.
Investing. Okay, now we're talking. But wait, before we get into the specifics, what kind of investing are we talking about here?
Smart investing to the long term. And sources 17, 21, 26, 38, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46 all agree diversification is key.
Diversification. Okay, so not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. You want to spread your investments across different asset classes.
Different types of investment.
Right, like stocks, bonds, real estate, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. So if one type of investment isn't doing so well,
the others can help balance it out.
I see. Spreading the risks.
Exactly. And then, this is the really cool part.
What's that?
Compounding.
Compounding. I've heard this word before, but I'm not sure I totally get it.
It's kind of like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
Your earnings start earning their own returns. Over time, it can really add up.
So like the longer you invest,
the more your money grows exponentially.
Okay. That's powerful.
Right. And speaking of earning money, our sources also talked about another really interesting concept.
Okay.
Passive income.
Passive income. Interesting.
Yeah. So this is income that you earn without having to actively work for it.
Oh, wow. So it's like money working for you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And sources 61 and 62 really went in depth on this. They talked about things like rental properties, if you own real estate, or dividends from stocks,
right?
Interest from savings accounts or bonds,
okay,
royalties from creative work.
Like books or music?
Yeah. Even things like online businesses.
Oh, wow.
Digital products. social media.
Okay, so there's a whole world of possibilities here.
Tons. And sources 61 through 93 actually had a whole list of different ideas.
So it's like you can create these additional income streams.
Alongside your main income.
And that can really accelerate your wealth building journey.
For sure.
Okay, so we've got our plan. We're budgeting, we're saving, we're investing, we're even exploring passive income. Anything else?
Well, there's one more thing we can't ignore.
Okay, what's that?
Debt.
Oh, right, debt.
Yeah.
The dreaded D word.
Yeah. But it's important, especially if you're trying to build wealth.
Okay, I'm listening.
So sources 17, 38, 41, 94, 95, we're all pretty clear on this one.
Okay.
You got to prioritize paying down high-interest debt,
Makes sense.
like credit cards, because that interest can really eat away at your progress.
It's like you're running on a treadmill.
Yeah. You're working hard, but not really getting anywhere.
Okay, so high interest debt, bad.
Not ideal. And there are some good methods for tackling it.
Okay.
Source 11 mentioned the Snowball and Avalanche methods.
Snowball and Avalanche, those sound interesting.
Yeah. So the Snowball method is where you focus on paying off the smallest debts first.
Okay, to get some quick wins.
Right. Build momentum.
And then the Avalanche method.
That one's all about tackling the highest interest rate debts first.
Okay, to minimize the overall interest you're paying.
Exactly. So you can choose which method works best for you.
Okay. But even better than tackling debt.
Is avoiding it in the first place.
Right, like sources 16, 94, and 95 said, don't take on unnecessary debt.
Yeah. Live within your means.
Okay. So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the importance of a plan, budgeting, saving, investing, passive income, managing debt. Is there anything else that's really crucial to this whole wealth building thing?
You know, going through all the research, it seems like there's a certain mindset,
A mindset.
a
Okay.
way of thinking
Yeah.
that's really common among people who successfully build wealth.
Interesting. So it's not just about the actions you take, it's also about your attitude.
Yeah. And sources 39, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, and 102 all touched on this.
Wow, a lot of sources.
Yeah. So they talked about things like living below your means, prioritizing saving over spending, being frugal.
Not being afraid to say no to unnecessary expenses.
Right. Avoiding that lifestyle creep. And also, they emphasized continuous learning.
So like always being willing to educate yourself about finances.
Exactly. And having a long-term perspective.
Right. Not getting discouraged by short-term setbacks.
And then there's this element of calculated risk-taking.
Okay. So not being reckless, but not being afraid to seize opportunities either.
Exactly.
And then, of course, discipline, persistence, staying focused on your goals.
Yeah. All comes down to having the right mindset.
Okay. I think that makes a lot of sense. So if we're trying to build wealth, we need to be mindful of the actions we take, but also the way we're thinking about money.
Exactly. It's a holistic approach.
Okay. So we've talked about what to do. What about what not to do?
The pitfalls.
Right. The common mistakes that people make that can sabotage their progress.
Yeah. Luckily, the sources provided us with a pretty solid list of things to watch out for.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So number one, and this was a big one, sources 11, 32, 95, 104, 105, 107, and 109 all agreed.
Okay.
Not having a financial plan.
So we're back to that roadmap idea.
Yeah. If you don't know where you're going, you're unlikely to get there.
Okay, makes sense. What else?
Letting your emotions drive your investment decisions.
Oh, that's a dangerous one.
Yeah. Sources 104 and 110 warned against that. Panic selling when the market dips. Or chasing the latest hot stock tip.
It's about being rational, not impulsive.
Exactly. Okay. Number 3,
Get me.
not having an adequate emergency fund.
Right. So if something unexpected happens, you don't want to wipe out all your progress.
Exactly. Sources 32, 104, 105, and 110 were pretty clear about that.
Okay. What else should we be watching out for?
Over-reliance on high-interest debt.
Right. Like we talked about earlier.
Yeah. Sources 32, 95, 104, and 107 said that can really set you back.
Okay. Anything else?
Neglecting important things like taxes, insurance, and estate planning.
Okay. The not so fun stuff.
Yeah. But sources 32, 103, 104, and 108 reminded us that it's important.
Okay.
Then there's not diversifying your investments properly, putting all your eggs in one basket.
Right. And not reviewing your financial plan regularly.
Exactly. Things change. You got to adapt.
Okay. So it sounds like there are a lot of potential pitfalls out there.
There are.
But luckily, we've got all these great sources to help us steer clear.
Absolutely. And, one thing that kept coming up that I think is really crucial,
What's that?
financial literacy.
Financial literacy. So like understanding how money works.
Exactly. And sources 94, 100, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115 all really emphasize this.
So like the more you know about finances, the better decisions you can make.
Absolutely. And those decisions, they can have a huge impact on your ability to build wealth.
It's about empowering yourself.
100%. And then there's the whole aspect of risk management.
Risk management. Okay. So
Yeah.
like being aware of potential financial risks.
Exactly. Sources 116, 117, 118, 119, 120 all touched on this.
So what kind of risks are we talking about?
Well, there's market risk.
Like the stock market going up and down.
Right. There's credit risk.
Like someone not paying you back a loan.
Exactly. There's liquidity risk.
Like not being able to access your money when you need it.
Yeah. There's operational risk.
Like a business making a mistake that costs you money.
And there's longevity risk,
Longevity risk. What's that?
like outliving your savings.
Oh, okay.
So there are all these potential risks to be aware of.
And sources 118 through 125 gave some good insights into each one.
Yeah. But the good news is there are ways to manage and mitigate these risks.
Okay. So how do we do that?
Well, one of the most important strategies is diversification.
Right. Not putting all our eggs in one basket.
Exactly. And that was a recurring theme in sources 19, 21, 26, 38, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46.
Okay. So diversification helps to spread the risk.
Yeah. And then there's having an emergency fund.
To cover those unexpected expenses.
Right. And having appropriate insurance coverage.
Okay. So it's about being prepared.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, I think the most important thing to remember about all of this
What's that?
is that building real wealth, it's a long game. It takes time.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Right. And sources 17, 22, 41, and 51 all emphasize this.
So we're talking years. Decades even.
Potentially.
Yeah.
It's about being consistent, disciplined, sticking with it.
Right. Not getting discouraged when things get tough.
Exactly. And that's where having a long-term perspective really comes in.
And the power of compounding.
Exactly. The longer you're invested, the more your money can potentially grow.
Okay. So even if you're not seeing huge results right away,
Stay the course.
stay the course.
Because consistency is key.
Okay. I think we've covered a lot of really important ground here today.
I think so too.
So to kind of recap, it sounds like building real wealth. It's not about some magic formula or get-rich-quick scheme. It's a comprehensive process.
It is.
It requires careful planning, consistent saving, strategic investing, responsible debt management.
And a wealth-oriented mindset.
Right. It's not just about what you do, it's also about how you think.
Absolutely.
And it's a journey, a long-term journey.
It is.
That requires patience, persistence, and a willingness to keep learning and adapting along the way.
Very well said.
So for everyone listening out there, think about this. What does financial freedom truly mean to you? And what's one small, consistent action you can take today to start moving towards that vision? Your journey to building wealth is unique. It's yours. But understanding these core principles I've talked about today, that's a really powerful first step.
I completely agree. That's the foundation.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.